Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. Oh, it's cold out here this morning. Cold meaning it's in the 40s. Haven't had that for a while. And even my guys over there say, hey, it's cold. Right there, that's Enzo right there. No, that's Lena. That's Lena, not Enzo. How can I tell the difference? Lena has a pink collar and Enzo has the blue. That's how I know. That's the only way I can tell them apart right now. But hey, yeah, we're going to do a little something today for Wake Up Wednesday, and we'll be doing it the next 3 Wednesdays as well, and that is taking a look at the book of Job. See, in our Revised Common Lectionary, that's a 3-year cycle of biblical readings: Old Testament, Epistle, Psalm, and Gospel lesson, all those. And if you follow that religiously in church, get it? Religiously? Okay. You will basically end up reading a major chunk of Scripture. Well, the book of Job gets a little shortchanged. In fact, there's only 3 readings assigned to the book of Job through the entire 3-year cycle. So we don't hear from it a whole lot, except if you go by the alternate reading during ordinary time, or those times after Pentecost, those Sundays after Pentecost. That's when we're given a choice. We can do the regular readings, or we can do the alternate reading. And the alternate reading for the next 4 weeks comes from Job. So we're going to take a look at that. We've talked about Job before. Job begins rather strangely. There was once a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. What is this, a fairy tale? Well, kinda. It's a fairy tale in the sense of it sounds a little bit like it. It starts out like that. It gets pretty messy and mucky on the inside, and it ends up they all live happily ever after. Kind of a strange book. Part of the wisdom literature that we find in the Older Testament, but it's one that we sometimes get a little wrong. I think when you go to the book of Job, a lot of people go with the question of why do bad things happen to good people, type of thing, because that's what happens to Job. He has it all, and he's a very faithful person, but he loses everything: his wealth, his family, all his cattle and sheep, everything. But it's an interesting book in that it really isn't about that. It's about God. Who is this God that allows such things to happen? So yeah, in a way it is, why do bad things happen to good people? But it's more looking at the very, very essence of God and how God operates in this world with us. So just to lay out the very simple timeline here, Job, who is a really good guy, and this all takes place, by the way, way back in Israel's history. In fact, Israel and Judah aren't even mentioned in this book, and in fact, the word Yahweh only appears once, right smack dab in the middle of it. Every other reference to God is the Elohim reference. So that gives us an indication that this is pretty old stuff. But also, it's a direct challenge to a lot of the rest of the Older Testament, the way it's written, in that if you go into the book of Deuteronomy and you see it in a lot of these writings by what we call the Deuteronomists, there is the feeling that if you are faithful to God and follow all of his precepts and his laws, you will be blessed. On the other hand, if you are not faithful, you will be cursed. This book challenges that, because Job did nothing bad. What you have instead, and it's set up in the first 2 chapters of Job, is you have this little, it's a little council meeting up there in heaven, and one of the angelic beings, who happens to be named Satan, and that basically means the accuser, because Satan here isn't the tempter. that we would see later on in the Newer Testament. This is more, I saw it written in one commentary, he's more like a district attorney. He's the accuser. That's what Satan literally means, the accuser. And it's the Satan, the accuser. It's not Satan that we have in the New Testament. Just get that right off the bat. And the story is, hey, they're talking up there in heaven, and God says, hey, look at Job. Isn't he the greatest? And Satan says, hey, I bet you if you took everything away from him, he wouldn't be the greatest anymore. He wouldn't be faithful to you. And God says, go at it. Do what you want. So the Satan has everything horrible happen to him. His life falls apart. All of his wealth, like as we said, is gone. His family's killed in a tragic collapse of the house. All that's left is he and his wife. And he remains faithful. So now that's part that we do not read in our lectionary reading if we go with the alternate reading. Our alternate reading is Job chapter 2, and it's the first 10 verses. Now here, Satan is back talking with God, and Satan says, hey, you know what, everything got taken away from him except his health. Go ahead, affect his health and well-being, and just wait and see. He'll end up cursing you. Well, that's when God says, go at it, do what you want. You just can't kill him. He has to live. So he gets all these boils, and he's just a royal mess. He's sitting in sackcloth and ashes, and his wife comes up to him and says, after all this, you're going to maintain your integrity toward God? Curse him and die. Curse him and die? Some translations have it, bless God and die. It makes it kind of hard to understand. Is she saying, go ahead and give one final word of thanks and thanksgiving to God for whatever, and then just die? Or is it really curse God and die? Like, tell him he's a jerk for letting this happen to you. So it's kind of left up in the air. You can make up your own mind as to what you want to believe happened right there. But that lays the groundwork for the rest of the book of Job, and we'll be getting into some of the heart and meat of that over the next 3 weeks, in which now there is a dialogue going on between Job and 3 of his friends, and then the 4th one kind of pops in there at a later time, but we'll get to that whenever we get to that. But it's a very interesting book because it does challenge that whole mindset that you find in many, many places in the Older Testament, that if you're good and you're faithful, God will bless you, but if you are bad, then you're going to get punished. You're going to have all the curses that God pronounces come upon you. And we see that challenged a couple other places as well. In fact, we will see later on Jesus challenging that very mindset as well. That's still apparent within Judaism of his day. And in fact, don't we have a lot of that with the prosperity gospel that goes around in our neck of the woods? Oh yeah, it's out there. You give to God, and you give him your love and your adoration and your praise, and he's going to shower blessings on you like you won't believe, and you will have no need. And well, you know what? Bad things do happen to good people. So what do we make of that? That is the struggle that we are about to embark on in this book of Job. So I like to just read that very last portion of chapter 2. Well, actually, it's of our reading. It's verses 9 and 10. Then his wife said to him, do you still persist in your integrity? Curse God and die. But he said to her, you speak as any foolish woman would speak. Shall we receive the good at the hand of God and not receive the bad? In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. All right, now we have the stage set for the rest of the book, and all the goings on that will happen between him and his friends. And also, we will see God enter the picture at the end with a very powerful word for Job before we get to the, ends up happily ever after ending. Blessings be with you. Look at that. You see the sun shining in the background there? It's getting ready to be an awesome Wednesday. God's blessings be with you as you enjoy this beautiful autumn day.